Welcome back to a Mindful Mess podcast,
where we try our best to be mindful, even if we're still a little bit of a mess, baby.
Absolutely. I'm Armin.
And I'm Cinthya.
Thanks for coming back. Thanks for watching another episode. Today's episode is very important to us as a relationship, and I hope it's important to you, so we'll get to that later. I just wanted to mention thank you for all the listeners, all the new subscribers, the likes. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, on wherever you listen to podcasts now, not just Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen, subscribe, like, rate, listen. It'll help us a lot. Absolutely. You can find us on Instagram at AMindfulMessPodcast, right?
Yes.
We're going to make a TikTok soon. It's going to be at AMindfulMessPodcast. Everything should be the same.
Yes.
And you can contact us on Gmail for anything at AMindfulMessPodcast@gmail.com. Yes. How's your day going?
It's going great. How's yours?
Amazing. Did you have a good week?
I did. How about you?
Amazing. We got a lot done. I actually have 2 new videos on my personal YouTube, AstroArmin. Check those out. One is a workout one of a famous TikTok influencer. Is he an influencer? He's a trainer, fitness trainer. And another one is trying weird sodas. And that was exciting. That was
super
really
fun
cool.
to record.
Super fun to record. We should record it on the floor in front of our coffee table because we wanted to switch it up just a little bit. But we're going to make more videos on those, on more sodas, more beverages, because there's a store nearby that has crazy ones. And then also snack one. We're going to record some snack ones too. All for you. So keep watching, liking, subscribing. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we really, really appreciate it.
Yes. So today's topic, communication. It's very important to us. I think it's important for a healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
And just a healthy lifestyle in general. So communication wise, how do you think our communication was when we first met?
So when we first met, we went through that like honeymoon stage where we were just like all lovey-dovey and we didn't really have any issues.
Yes.
But we definitely saw issues when we moved in together. I felt like our communication wasn't great.
Nope.
But once we did couples therapy, that was something huge that we really had to work on. And I feel like our communication now is so much better. It's not perfect because no relationship is perfect. But it's definitely improved as time has gone on.
It's definitely an important topic from our couples therapy.
Yes.
So if you want to see the couples therapy one, that's literally our first episode. So go back, listen to that one, and then come back to this one.
Yes.
So communication, yes, when we first started, it was like texting. We were fine.
Yeah.
Every time we hung out, it was just good times. But then our communication kind of started to show itself how it actually was, how I actually am when we did move in together.
Right.
And how bad I am at communicating, actually.
Same.
We're pretty bad.
So how would you say...
Not now, but we used to be.
How would you say for you were bad at communicating?
So
in what way?
For me, it's explaining how I feel, talking about what's going on in the moment, so you know what's going on or what my emotions are.
Sure.
Being open and honest about, like, if I can't hang out with someone or letting them know exactly why I can't instead of blowing people off. Sorry if I've blown you off before. So
I feel like you're pretty good about that, though, with friends.
No.
Okay,
no,
sure.
But I used to be definitely bad at that, which carried over, yes.
Aw, I didn't know that.
So just an overall how I feel, what's going on. I was always bad at communicating that stuff, keeping my emotions kind of close to my chest, communicating, especially when we argue.
That's the hard part.
What's going on, how I feel, communicating and listening to you so you can talk to me. All of that was bad, and I had to navigate and learn how to be better at that for sure.
Sure.
How was it for you? Why was it bad for you?
For me, it was along the lines of just relating to my anger because it's so easy for me to want to say so much, but sometimes the way that I say things comes across super rude or is super rude. So I definitely had to work on that, and having more patience for you as well.
Right.
Understanding that the way that I communicate is not the same way that you communicate.
It's not, right.
And it's going to take you time to get there. But same for me. Because I think for us, it's kind of the opposite. For you, communicating is shutting down. And then for me, communicating is like blowing up, which isn't okay in both ways.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's the difference in our communications because you will use your anger.
I'll speak my mind. I'll be like, this made me mad.
Not even
and I
to
feel
me.
this way about this.
to everybody, you do that.
What do you mean?
You're open with like how you're feeling and what you have to say in that moment.
That's so true. Yeah, that's very true. I guess I was speaking in terms of our relationship, but communication always comes in handy with everything, friendships, family.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
And then the opposite for me is shutting down and not communicating. So it's being open and honest and actually telling you what's going on and communicating those feelings. Yeah. That definitely came about when we went to couples therapy, and I realized I'm very bad at it, and I can't shut down anymore. I have to communicate how I'm feeling.
But I think also you can shut down, but the hard part is letting me know that you need time.
Communicating that I do need time. That's what I've been trying to do.
Give me 5 minutes to just breathe.
Say that.
Because we have to remember in relationships and communicating, especially if it's let's say an argument, your brain goes into fight or flight mode. And so for Armin, it's like flight, like he's like, I'm done. Like I don't want to talk about it. And for me, it's fight mode because that's how I've always been and the way that I've always handled situations. So I have to keep that in mind as well. Yep. It's almost like your brain is trying to do everything right to communicate, but then since it's in fight or flight mode, it's like not meshing well together.
No. How do you think we do now with communication after couples therapy, after arguments and that kind of thing?
I think overall really well because we don't fight as much as we used to. But sometimes we do still struggle with it. Especially when we get into fights and stuff.
Yep.
I think it's also super easy to bottle up emotions and not talk about it right then and there. More so when it blows up and just like throw it all in your face, kind of.
Yep. I still struggle with that because recently bottling stuff up and not telling you how exactly I feel caused us to have an argument.
Yes.
And about like what was going on.
Sure.
So I still, even though we're like at a good place, we still have a lot of growth to go and a lot of things to do.
It's a work in progress.
Yes.
Always though, which is fine. It's like I said, it's not always going to be perfect.
So after couples therapy, what is one thing you've done to improve your communication with me?
The way that I communicate things to you. So back then I used to like cry. Not saying that crying is a bad thing, but like cry and just be super aggressive in the way that I communicate with you. So I'll be like, you fucking pissed me off. Instead of now I'm like, this really bothered me that you did this in a more calm way. Because in turn, that's going to affect the way that you respond to me.
Yeah.
So I think that's something huge that I've really changed. How about for yourself?
For me, it's communicating. What I've been trying to do is communicate how I'm feeling in that moment more and more and more and more, and not letting it bottle up to get to that point. Sure. So communicating, even if it's something little, if I'm like feeling down or if like I'm not feeling good about how my day went, is communicating that part of it too.
Yeah.
So that opens up my communication with other people and with you and being more open and honest about things.
Of course.
Yeah. And I think my anxiety also plays a part in it, and like how I communicate with other people, especially out in public or family and friends. But I try to suppress that as much as possible and communicate how I'm actually doing and feeling and what's going on. Because if you're open and honest and truthful, it's just better in the long run anyways.
Of course. Because
then we won't have a blown up fight, because then you'll know, oh, he's feeling this way.
Yes, he was already struggling.
He talked about it like 3 days ago. This is how he's feeling. So it's probably what's going on and why we kind of had a disagreement.
Yeah. You know? Armin has come a very, very long way with his communication because he used to just like, I feel like not tell me anything about how he was feeling.
Yeah.
And nowadays, you know, he's more willing to tell me how he feels and be more vulnerable with me, which I respect and appreciate a lot because I feel you need that in a relationship. To be able to talk to your partner, even though sometimes it's scary, and I can see why sometimes he was hesitant to tell me things because of the way that I responded.
Sure.
So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. Because I didn't want to make you upset or mad.
Yeah.
Especially, that's like one of the main things that would go through my head is don't make her upset, don't make her mad, don't even worry about it kind of thing. But it's not even worrying about it, it's just being open. So then it's not running through your mind all day, every day, and affecting your relationships with others. So thank you to couples therapy for real.
Right.
Yes.
It has helped us a ton. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we do argue still. I don't want it to seem like it doesn't. It happens. You know, it's funny. It happens so much less that we don't even think about it like at all.
But it still happens.
Yes, but it still happens, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. Yeah, and I do want to preface that like mental and physical abuse and that kind of argument, that's not okay. That needs professional help, and you need to reach out to somebody else. But our arguments are pretty tame nowadays. Yeah. Should we go into how bad our arguments were?
We can. Just excuse me for 2 seconds. I'm just gonna grab a tissue.
Oh, you're gonna grab a tissue?
But yeah, do you want to kind of get started on
how arguments were bad? So arguments would be bad because, again, I'm not communicating what's going on or how I feel. Sure. And then you think it's something else.
Yes.
And then also in that moment, whatever I did is making you upset and angry. So that's like double on top of that. Then also in the argument, I'm not explaining still how I feel. So then that's a third thing that's going wrong, right? So then you would be super angry at me. I would shut down. And it would be like an all-day thing where we would have stuff planned and we wouldn't even get to those things because we're in argument mode.
Yes.
And we have to somehow get to fixing mode. And it would take 5-6 hours maybe of just being kind of super mad at each other.
Yeah, it was definitely in those situations like a trauma response for me.
Same.
Because I was in a mentally abusive relationship. So I had to constantly remind myself that the person that I'm talking to is not the person who hurt me.
Right.
Who's hurt me. But for me, that was just the way that I had handled situations in the past. So it was so easy for me to not forgive and just keep assuming that everything he was doing was intentionally to hurt me because of my past experiences.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same for you. You know, not wanting to be open and not wanting to talk about it because that's just how you always dealt with things in the past.
And not understanding that side of you too during those moments to say,
it was confusing.
So she is not really directing it at me. What she's saying is not true. She's just angry. It's a response, but it's also hard to fight those in that moment because I'm angry too, because you're saying those things. So it's hard to fight both sides almost. I don't know if it's fighting both of sides of my brain or what, but making sure I understand we can get past this and we can fix this no matter what it is. Because I don't feel like everything we argue about is unfixable. It's always something we can fix, you know? And that's another part of the communication. Okay. Spencer just did a flip because he got stuck in his blanket. That's all cool. But yeah, it's those two sides too. Is making sure I understand in those moments you're just angry. And I have to listen, hear you out so we can move on and move forward.
I know I've told you in the past.
Are you getting emotional? Oh, I'm sorry. What is it? And it's okay. It's good to let emotions go, as you'll see.
It's just a touchy subject for me because I just always felt so much guilt when we would fight because of the way that I responded.
Me too.
So I know I've told you before, but I just want to say I'm sorry in the past for how I directed my trauma to you and my anger. And I know like you understand that now.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, it just always makes me emotional, especially like even when I went to therapy and stuff. It was always something I broke down about because I knew what an amazing man he was and how hard he tried to love me and be there for me. But I know that sometimes it was hard because of the way that I would respond, even if I didn't want to respond that way.
Right.
But it was tough, like fighting all the time because of my anger. And it's not to just like put the blame on me, because it's like so easy to do that and just say like I was a problem. But at the same time, it's like it feels good to say that because I want to take accountability, because that's not the person that I want to continue being. But it's also okay for me to feel that way because of what I've been through.
Yes.
But I know that you understand that.
I do understand, and I accept that. And I'm grateful for you a lot.
I'm grateful for you.
And I'm sorry too, because it takes two to tango. It's not all your fault when it comes to arguing and doing that kind of thing. So I'm sorry too.
It's just like so funny when you think about it, how we just realized that we just didn't want to keep doing that anymore. Yeah. We're like, we can do so much better.
It happens in a lot of stages in your life. Like,
for sure.
You don't want to do this job anymore. You want to do something that makes you happy. You don't want to argue with these people anymore. You want to find happiness in that. You want to find inner peace.
You just want to change that toxic cycle.
Yeah, whatever it might be. For us, it was like part of our relationship and how we had to grow. And you've done a lot of growing.
You too.
Yes, I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
We've come a long way, and we have a long way to go, but I like what we're doing.
Me too.
Yeah, we built our own little family. Even though Spencer did a flip just now, he's fine and he's happy. He's one of the happiest dogs in the world. I already know because we spoil him. And you know what's funny? I'll bring it up. When we argue, he gets so sad. He doesn't want to be around either of us. He's like...
He's confused.
Over it.
Yeah.
He's like, not again. But he comes to console us.
He does.
Especially you.
If we'll be talking or something, he'll like come up to me and like lick my face or something. Yeah. Like, can you stop?
And he'll lick your face. He'll lick your tears away. But he gets so happy when we made up and we move forward. He gets so happy.
I know we're talking about communication in our relationship, but how do you feel like communication comes into play with friendships and family?
For me, family is the same way, as being like open and honest and communicating what's going on in my life or how I feel. I didn't grow up in a very emotional household, like where everyone wore their emotions on their sleeve, talked about how they felt, stressed, not stressed. You would just never know unless, something would happen. Then you can kind of think back and be like, my dad was probably stressed. That's why, or my mom was stressed. I'm sure their body isn't in pain. They don't want to deal with this now or that now. So communication's always been kind of bad for me. And then also I was a very shy person, a very shy kid. Same. So I never communicated with a lot of kids. Hated doing presentations and communication classes. Anxiety for me plays a big role in a lot of that, in a lot of communication too. But as we're growing and our communication is getting better, my communication with my family is getting better, trying to be more open. Because I also understand now I'm older, I'm making my own decisions.
Yes.
They did the best they could, and now it's all up to me. So being open and honest and not holding anything back that I think might worry them or that kind of thing.
That's so true.
Yeah, because that goes into it too.
When I met you, you said like your parents didn't even know where you worked or anything because you were kind of like closed off.
Yeah, I always expected some kind of bad reaction, so I never said anything.
That's true, yeah.
No matter how positive it was for me.
But look at you now. You're pretty open about everything now.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to be. Sometimes I still struggle with things I say, but I tried to be. Yeah. I tried to be. Even in my everyday life, whether that's like a coworker or whatever it might be, trying to say how I feel. Sometimes I'm just like over it. Yeah. I don't want to insert myself in stuff, but if it's like directed towards me or something, for sure. Yeah. How about you with your communication with your family?
With my family, I guess it was like my family was always the type to not really talk things out.
Same, yeah.
Not like all of them, but for the most part, most situations were just kind of swept under the rug, and then like you just move forward. And I knew that's like not how I wanted to handle situations. I knew that I wanted to talk things out because I feel like eventually if you keep sweeping things under the rug, like that's just gonna end up biting you in the ass later on. Yeah. Because it's gonna be like brought up or something.
It's gonna be worse. As time goes on and you keep those stuff under the rug, it's gonna be worse when it comes out. And
then I think also like bringing up the fact that it's okay to say no. That's something huge that we learned.
Yeah. You have to.
and just saying no and not having to explain yourself, which I still struggle with. Like recently I had like a breakdown because I was just so exhausted from putting too much on my plate and just worrying about, I'll just say, worrying about spending enough time with my family, spending enough time with my friends, and realizing that I can just communicate and say, you know what? No, I can't. I can't this week.
Yeah.
You know, no, I can't this month.
It is about how you say stuff too.
Of course, yeah, for sure.
I think that makes a big difference in the relationships that you have. So instead of me saying, no, I don't want to, is different than me saying, listen, it's like to my friend, listen, no, I can't because we're shooting a podcast and it's really important to us. I have to edit, so I can't that day. Maybe we can do another day. It comes off better to them because then they're like, oh, they still care. They still want to put in that effort, but they can't right now. So it is going that extra mile in telling them, no, but here's what's going on. You know, as we get older, our schedule is getting smaller and smaller and we don't have time for stuff. Yesterday was the first time in a long time we did a self-care, our own day, where we didn't do anything other than cooking breakfast. We didn't cook dinner. I went and picked it up. We didn't go anywhere.
And he didn't even want to go pick it up. I told him, let's get DoorDash, but it was too much. So he's like, I'll just pick it up.
No, I'm not going to even start a beef with DoorDash because their fees are expensive.
But I think
but people got to be paid. Sorry.
Yeah, don't be a hater.
Sorry.
I think that's another like big topic that we could talk about in the future is exhaustion, self-care, and
it's important.
Finding boundaries with people in a sense as well, because important. That always comes. Excuse me, I'm going to rephrase what I said. Communication always comes to play in friendships. If any, what do you call it? I'm trying to think of the right word. Not an altercation. What do you call it? Disagreements with friends or whatever. For me, communication has always been a big thing. If you did something that bothers me, I'm probably going to communicate that with you and let you know so we can talk it out. So that also comes into play with friendships.
Absolutely. Being open and honest, being vulnerable.
Yes.
And we hope, because we're doing that, the people that we're voicing that to understand that it's not coming from a bad place. It's just like we're trying to let you know how it made us feel. And then if we can't do something, let you know why and that kind of thing.
And also because we don't want, or I don't want it to affect us down the road.
Right. Exactly. And then you can communicate down the road, like if there was a disagreement, whatever it might be, and clear the air. It's okay to clear the air.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not always a bad thing.
No, it's not always a bad thing. It can bring you closure and like
closure,
get stuff off of your chest. Yes. Self-improvement's a big one. We will talk about that. Yesterday was much needed for us both, especially for you, because I know she tries to make a lot of time for a lot of people.
I do.
And then when she's gone, she's also thinking about making time for me and Spencer and other people.
And myself.
Exactly. Yes. You have to make time for yourself as we're learning. We have a calendar now, and we should probably start putting on there when it's our time to shine. Yes, absolutely.
I think we should also bring up the love notes, because that is part of what's helped us with our communication and showing our love for each other.
It's a very important part of how my communication too is letting you know how I appreciate small things that you do, whatever it might be, like cooking dinner, how I feel. Just notes in general has helped me too, just like leaving little sticky notes before I leave in the morning. I know that's helped because I know you like those too.
I know that we struggled in the past with you telling me, like complimenting me, like you're beautiful or you look nice and things like that, which I think a partner should still say those things and verbally say that.
Absolutely.
But it's also nice to like get love notes that say like you look beautiful this day, because it makes your partner feel loved and good.
Yes. So speaking of love notes, it's like a third down the wall and we want to fill up the whole wall. So if you have someone you want to write a little love note, we'll shout you out, we'll read it, and we'll put it on our wall. You can do it in the comments, you can do it on Instagram, tag us, you can do it through email, whatever it might be. We'll pick some, we'll write some down, and we'll put it on our wall. Speaking of them love notes, again, let's put one up, because we have some here.
Sure.
We have some here. We'll start putting them up. These are some that we wrote.
Yes.
Some in here might be some like family friends.
Family and friends, yes.
But this is the rest of the ones we didn't put on the wall. So we'll put. How about I put one, you put one?
Okay.
I'll pick one.
Sure.
And it doesn't matter if you wrote it or I wrote it. And let's see if we can remember the context.
All right.
I wrote this. It says, "Thanks for making the salad." You made a lot of salads.
I've made a lot of salads.
So I don't know. It was probably for dinner.
Yeah.
Because we do struggle with our diet, but we were probably trying to eat a little healthier that day. So
a little salad in there.
A little salad in there. So I'm gonna put this one up after we get out of here.
Not the fishbowl. Just kidding.
Not the fishbowl. It's not even a fishbowl. It was for plants that we never use.
Okay. This one is. It's Armin also wrote this.
Period.
I'm sorry we fought, but
there it is.
I don't know what that says, but I had an amazing weekend with you.
Aw, yes.
Sweet.
That's another one.
I can't remember when we fought, but
I've written a lot of those. Like after we fought,
yeah.
Just to remind her we're still gonna have a good weekend, even if it like happened in the middle of the weekend or whatever. Yeah. Yes. You can't remember what that fight's about. Who cares, to be honest?
Who cares? We moved past that. We growing up. We growing up.
We glowing up and we growing up. You like that? So we appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching another episode if this is on YouTube. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode every single Monday.
Turn your post notifications on as well.
Yes. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to rate us on those platforms. It'll help us out a lot because we're looking to get some sponsors. If you sponsor us, we'll put you in here because...
Period.
Yes, we're trying to get more people listening and improving and building a community of growth, okay? Because we can be mindful and still a mess. It's all good. Period. We'll never be perfect. No one will ever be perfect. We really appreciate you. We'll see you next week. Let us know what you want us to talk about in the comments. And bye-bye. Love ya. Be kind.